What's up, guys? This is Getting in the Green. We're here today to do a little UFC 265 recap, kind of go over the main fights, go over our bets. Turned out pretty well for us, and talk about what we got planned for some of our upcoming episodes as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Pretty weak card for us as far as DraftKings goes, but very dialed in on the bet, so I hope you guys were paying attention last week. But yeah, let's dig into it, man. First fight of the night was Munoz and Simmons, and we nailed that one.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked he didn't pull off the submission in the first round, make value on DraftKings, but as far as the bet goes, I mean, that guy cashed pretty easy.
Yeah, we both picked Munoz. I'll give Corey the shout out here. His level of confidence was a lot higher than me. I thought Simmons would have a little more defense, and with his takedown defense, thought he would put up a little more of a fight. It was all Munoz. Glad we got Munoz in a couple parlays, and it was a good fight. The jiu-jitsu was just way too much. There's just levels to it. That's pretty much.
Yeah, and again, that's probably the last we see of Simmons in the UFC, but looking forward to some Munoz.
We're excited for Munoz. The jiu-jitsu really is top-notch. He can put a lot of people in danger. It's exciting.
I was actually also pumped, man. Let's talk about, first 4 or 5 fights of the night finishes. Great way to start that card, man.
On some fights that you really would not have expected to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, really exciting. And just to lead into that, of all the fights that we didn't get a finish in right off, the Menafield-Herman fight is the first fight on the card that we didn't get a finish, which was shocking for us. Yeah, great card. Very entertaining.
So next, I know we told you guys not to play this card on DraftKings, and it turned out to be, I think, the high scorer of the night, which was Gatto and...
what's her name? I'm blanking on it. But either way, Gatto...
Yeah. She improved in the
Leonardo,
last...
right?
Yeah, against Leonardo.
We got that pick wrong, straight up.
Yeah.
And it was a domination. It was a one-sided domination. It was tough, though. We didn't have a lot of tape on that fight, and Gatto looks like an entertaining, real-deal female there. She's a contender in that division. She looked good.
Yeah, in the last 3 years, she definitely improved. Her stand-up looked... she dominated the stand-up, and then that just led into her jiu-jitsu, and she ran through Leonardo.
Yep.
So that was definitely...
And, yeah, that was a tough one where, I think she was 8,800 on DraftKings. Definitely was a must-play for the top bracket there. So that was a miss, but tough one to call. I think hindsight's 20/20 in that one. I wouldn't have necessarily thought that there was going to be a finish if I saw that breakdown again, and no, it was a surprise. But good fight. It was an entertaining fight.
All right. So
we had no bet on that fight. Just didn't have enough tape on it.
Yeah. Next, though, this one was Matt's boy Johns got it done against Dos Santos, and he looked dominant.
I was pumped about that fight. I was pumped from an entertainment standpoint where, first off, I was pumped because I picked Dos Santos. I was heavy on Dos Santos. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. Pick him apart with the jab, land the bigger power shots, and really mostly avoid the ground game and stuff it. What was surprising but also great was, we actually got, for as dominant as that fight was, man, did Dos Santos show heart and make that a fun war to watch, considering how one-sided it was.
Yeah, and that's starting to become his MO. He had the same kind of fight there with Ewell where he just, he survives, and I even sent a text out, I think, in the end of the second round that, dude, this guy's got an unbelievable chin.
Yeah, he does.
And he got caught with an absolute brutal two-piece combination to end the fight.
It was the leg kicks, it was the story of the fight. As much as the knockout was amazing in the third, as much as the jab and the movement and the boxing, I think the first 2 hard leg kicks that Johns threw completely debilitated Dos Santos, and it was...
Yeah, he was limping forward the rest of the fight.
Yeah, the fight was practically over on the first 2 kicks because he already was at a massive speed disadvantage, and that just made it even wider of a gap. But fun fight. Johns is the real deal. Got 1 loss in MMA. I'm excited to see how far that guy can go. He's got good wrestling, got great jab, athletic, shows good heart, shows good fight IQ. I'm excited. I'm excited about that guy's future. And
yeah, he's going to get himself a serious fight next.
And from a betting standpoint, we were right on the money where I think he was at, minus 230, minus 240 when we got him. And it was pure domination. I thought he should have been a minus 300, minus 350. So cash on that one.
Yeah. The next fight was exciting for as long as it lasted. So if you guys were on our fight doesn't go the distance bet here, we might have got the fighter wrong, but we knew this one was going to end early and often.
It was Cape and Osborne, which was 1-round war. And we picked Osborne. Honestly, I didn't think he looked bad. I thought he looked pretty good.
I think he was winning the first round.
I thought he was winning the first round as well. He was aggressive. But you know what it brought out? And a lot of the people that were disagreeing with us were spot on where they said this aggressive style is going to bring out the best of Cape and have him basically have to counter. You're going to be forced to answer that aggression. And he did. And he, had the most spectacular knockout of the night, really.
Flying knee just on point.
And it looked like, it was so explosive of a flying knee. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
How quick he
Osborne was out cold. And any argument that they shouldn't have stopped the fight when they did is completely...
Yeah, but we felt good about that one. Our advice on that one was we were picking Osborne. We really didn't know who was going to win. Fight doesn't go the distance was the bet, so we did cash on that. Even though we did say you could take a flyer on Osborne, we did not end up doing that. We were just so 50-50. We got a little on inside the distance, and that one cashed nicely for us. And it was a great knockout. It's a shame that Cape missed weight because he was ineligible for a post-fight bonus, but it was a no-brainer that was the best knockout of
best knockout of
the night.
All right, then we moved into the prelims. Started off with Carolina versus Penne.
And we from a betting standpoint, we didn't recommend a play here. There were just a lot of unknowns. From a prediction standpoint, I felt like we were pretty spot on. We had Penne. We did ultimately think she was going to be able to get it to the ground. I did not think a finish was coming, but I just, I feel bad for Carolina, but it's like I had mentioned in our previous session, it was her head's just not in the game. I know she's suffered from, some things outside of the cage, and she just hasn't. It's been years now where she's not the same girl that came in and fought Joanna for the belt. It looks like a completely different fighter. She just looks a little shot in all aspects. She looks slower. She looks less physical, and that's exactly what happened. Penne came in and had a great performance. Again, was one that we definitely were not playing on DraftKings, and she was in the optimal lineup for a lot of people too. So,
yeah, I saw the biggest thing is what KK's fight IQ was. Why are you going to the ground with this chick? She went down there on her own accord and instantly got destroyed. I knew it was over. She's crying on her way out to the octagon. Like you said, there's just more going on in her life than MMA. And
she tweeted after the fight, and I think that she said she's done. That was her last fight, and she's moving on to different things. And I think that's the best for her. It looks like her heart's not in it anymore. Her skills definitely are not what they used to be, and we wish her the best. She's given us some good.
She had a good run,
entertaining fights, but we did hit that one on just.
As far as the pick goes.
Yeah.
Next was the fight we thought was going to be a finish for sure, which was Alonzo Menifield versus Ed Herman.
Yeah,
Ed Herman was absolutely a massive human being in this fight.
He was much bigger than I thought he was going to be compared to Menifield, considering the guy's fought most of his career at middleweight, has dabbled at light heavyweight back and forth, but Menifield's a big guy, and he looked like the smaller man. Clearly was the faster guy, clearly was the superior fighter.
Yeah, he
stayed
dominated.
Out of trouble.
Herman showed a chin, survived 3 rounds, but got absolutely beat up here.
The leg, again, this was another one that was a story of the leg kicks. It was, between the first, but really at the end of that second round, his leg was so messed up. The doctor came in. I thought they were pretty damn close to stopping that fight. Obviously, they did not, but it was beat down. Too bad we didn't get the finish. We did say that we felt strongly that would be a finish. We're glad we bet Menifield straight up. We parlayed him. We parlayed him on our big bet with Fazeev, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So we did cash that one. DraftKings, he was my main play. He was my favorite play, and he did not live up to his price tag. I think he only scored in the 80s.
No, I didn't see him on too many optimal lineups.
So that one was a bust there.
Yeah, especially there was some big scorers up top, and he didn't get it done. There was a lot of that, though.
It was a weird lineup for the optimal. It was very weird.
Also, I noted 4th place in the tournament, $20,000, had Bobby Green as a loser.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's just unheard of.
And he was really only like 2 points off the top lineup. So
yeah, it was an interesting card. The next fight was the only fight we disagreed on, and it was a very slight disagreement, but it was Morales and Rodriguez.
Close fight.
Yeah.
Even though the judges, had some 30-27s in there, it played out kind of as we thought. It was a toss-up fight.
Yeah, I thought Morales' striking was a little tighter. He beat him to the punch a little bit more, but Rodriguez was the better athlete. He just didn't utilize it.
Yeah.
It was a close fight, but
I think Morales was the rightful winner. Some of those scorecards were a little
30-27s
wacky, but you know what? It just kind of played out how we thought. Very close, hard to call.
Yeah, good fight. I'm excited to see both these guys continue, get a little better, but they're two good prospects. They're coming up.
DraftKings, I think they both did not score well.
No.
Yeah,
I actually think Rodriguez scored more points before the win bonus than Morales did. So they both ended up in the 60s and I think 43, I believe, for Rodriguez.
So, not a factor in DraftKings.
We also didn't have a bet for you guys on that one.
Glad we didn't, the way it played out.
Next was our lock of the night, basically, which was Fiziev versus Bobby Green. And this fight did not go how I expected. We ultimately got the win.
We got the win, which cashed our bet, which we were very happy about. Didn't come nearly as easily as we thought.
No, and whatever judge gave Fiziev round 3, I mean, that guy should just get fired.
Yeah, there's no way.
Bobby Green landed 74 significant strikes in the third round. Almost put his lights out a few times.
Yeah. I thought it was a fair 29-28. Fiziev definitely felt like edged 1 and 2, but it was a close fight. It was definitely not a blowout like we thought, and it doesn't take away. Like, I still think Fiziev is a guy to keep an eye on, a prospect. I do admit that I thought he was going to blow through Bobby Green, and it gives me pause to maybe go a little bit slower with his progression. Maybe he's not ready for the top of the division. I'm not saying he's not going to keep progressing, but okay, he's not quite as developed as I thought. Give him a little more time. Feed him slowly up the ladder and see where he can go.
He needs to grow. I mean, he is one-dimensional, and you start getting into the top 10 in a division, you need to have a well-rounded game.
Yeah.
He didn't win himself any fans Saturday night. Now, the people that are already on him, it was a good win, and it was a good name that he beat. But he should have gone out there, and he should have finished that fight. And
Bobby Green showed his chin, and it's we said before this fight, the guy's only been finished once by Poirier. The guy does have a chin, but I was expecting more from Fiziev. But
good fight, though. It was a fun fight to watch. These guys were in the center of the octagon talking back and forth, and
I'm not going to complain about a win. A win's a win for our bet.
All right, then we move into the main card.
First one, this is our biggest miss on the whole card.
Yadong and Kenny. We were on Chase Kenny. Close fight. I don't disagree with the decision.
Yeah.
Yadong beat him to the punch. He had a 1/10 of a second on every jab. Kenny just couldn't get it to the ground early, man. If he gets one more of those takedowns, I think he ended up 1 for 5. If he gets one of those in the first round, he wins that thing 29-28.
Yeah, even as bias for Kenny, and I rewatched it, and I think Yadong was the fair winner. It was close. It was a close fight. Yadong was faster than I thought he'd look in that matchup with Kenny. He did seem faster to the punch, and that really made the difference. And I was leaning on. I thought Kenny was going to be a little faster. I thought he was going to be able to mix in those takedowns, steal rounds. That was not the case, and more power to Yadong. We knew going into the fight they were both talented guys in the division. Both have bright features, but Yadong impressed me, and maybe it was some recency bias coming off the Phillips loss where, Phillips just looked so much faster than Yadong and mix it up that I really thought Kenny was going to have a similar game plan and be able to execute it. Wasn't the case, so either recency bias of me and I'm maybe not giving Phillips enough credit, or Yadong's grown. He's learned from his mistakes and he's tightened up his game. But
yeah, he looked good, man. He waited. You constantly saw Kenny kind of leaning in for these punches and just getting countered.
Yeah.
He looked great wrestling in the third round when he actually got it to the ground at the end, but wasn't able to do it. Yadong showed good takedown defense, and he ultimately won the fight.
Impressive win.
Should have been unanimous, honestly. A split decision's kind of rough there for Yadong, but that's a good win for him, and it's definitely going to get him a good contender here next. All right, let's move on to Torres and Hill. And this fight played out
Yeah.
like we thought.
Yeah, it did.
Angela Hill tried to use her athleticism and aggression, and Torres just absolutely dominated her on the feet.
Yeah, she did. The only thing that I'm mad about is I wish we had more confidence in our pick. Where, we at the end were, anything can still happen, but Torres really was just more athletic, quicker,
combinations look
significantly
good.
better striker, and Hill shut down Hill's game. I will admit I didn't think it was going to be even that dominant as it was, and it was a great fight. Torres looked great. Tough loss for Hill. Kind of got to go back to the drawing board, and she had some arguments in some of her losses recently that it was split decisions, tough decisions. This is one of those resets of,
She got dominated.
Hey, I need to reevaluate if I really want to be in the top 5, be going for the championship belt. You're going to need to take some time off and reevaluate your game. And
I think her run to the top might be over now. I think she's a little too late in her career to kind of completely turn around her game, and we saw the holes in it, man. If you're not dominating physically,
can't get it done.
You can't get it done. Your boxing's not good enough. And Torres though, she looked good.
She looked really good.
And she did it on the feet. Everyone already knows about her, her grappling and her ground game, but the fact that she was able to get this one done on the feet like she did,
it was impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
All right, next was Chiesa and Luque. And
lived up to the hype.
It was exciting. We thought we had it right there for a second. I mean, it plays out exactly how we wanted it to for Chiesa.
Yep.
His jab looks great. Touches up Luque a little bit. Luque gets upset, rushes in aggressively, and gets taken down immediately.
Yeah.
It takes about 5 seconds for Chiesa to take this guy's back. First guillotine submission attempt was close. The second one he was just too high on, and we talked about that guy needing to not just headhunt submissions and really just dominate the grappling. He goes for the second one, gets thrown off the back and into the Darce choke immediately.
Yeah, a couple things. First off, Luque might be one of the most entertaining guys in MMA, period. He's a killer. He's a finisher. He's never been in a really boring fight. I think the most boring fight he's ever been in was with Stephen Thompson, and it was still a good fight. It was just, this guy's so fun to watch. But man, I do feel for Chiesa. Not only did I pick him to win, it's my breakdown of this fight. I said how Chiesa in the past has gotten submitted by guys that he's probably better grapplers than, because he chased that submission, got a little over aggressive, and he's really matured at welterweight and has been more positional and kind of intelligent to get that, to be maybe not as exciting, but to get those wins. And I feel like he got too aggressive and he kind of went back to his old ways, and it cost him in this fight. I know he's getting older. He's been in the UFC a long time. I still think he's got the talent to come back up. But, man, a really heartbreaking loss for Chiesa, considering how close he is to a title shot. For Luque, amazing win. And, especially with the UFC's just, not giving Edwards any love. Luque could easily have just jumped over him, leapfrogged him, and might be the next guy in the title shot after Colby and Usman. So...
yeah, Luque looks good, man. And, for Chiesa, if I'm in the top 5, I don't want to fight that guy. He's a tough out any night.
And he looks so big for welterweight, considering the guy was lightweight. He's just so big, physically imposing.
But good fight. Didn't go our way, but, as far as entertainment goes, that was one of the best fights of the night.
And our recommendation was we didn't know who to play. We said,
Fight doesn't go the distance.
Especially if you're on Luque.
Yeah.
Another one I do want to get a shout out on was I didn't think it was going to be purely on the ground, but if the people that were liking Luque via inside the distance, I did say make sure you get a play for inside the distance instead of KO, TKO, just in case that sneaky submission happened. I thought it was going to play out where he got rocked on the feet and then got it like that if Luque was going to win, but I'm glad we kind of put that in there to have some line of defense on that.
Yeah. Moving into the co-main event was a big one for us. Aldo just absolutely dominated Munoz here.
Yeah. I'm happy. I was pretty torn on this fight, so I did go with Aldo, but that was one I had flip-flopped, and just happy to see it. Aldo, one of the legends of the sport, one of the, probably top 5 GOATs in all of MMA. Doesn't get necessarily the respect he deserves because he's still fighting, but just awesome to see. I do think Munoz, in hindsight, was a good matchup for him in terms of keeping it standing, him being a little bit of a faster striker, things like that. But you got to shout out Aldo for, at his age, after his career, to still look like he's improving and working on his game. It was just really great to see. Both guys are great guys in the sport, but entertaining fight that just kind of turned into Aldo being more one-sided, especially in that third round. Aldo getting the dominant win. And really, who knows, putting himself back in that top 3. And I know he's calling for a fight with Dillashaw, which I don't think he's going to get. I think Dillashaw's going to get the title shot after Jan Sterling. But, why not have him fight Sandhagen, something like that? And he might be 1 win away, 2 wins away from, especially if Jan, for whatever reason, isn't defending the title at that point. He might be a couple fights away from getting back in the title conversation, which is incredible considering his career and where he's been at in his fight years.
Yeah, and the gas tank he showed in that third round, and given he didn't absorb too much damage from Yunus, but, oh man, he looked dominant in the third.
He did.
For that guy also, I think he set a personal record for significant strikes in a fight. Yep. This is a guy that's fought how many 5-round wars?
Yep.
For him to do it in 3 rounds against him.
It's impressive.
Without the leg kicks. He didn't kick him. I think he had maybe 5 leg kicks the whole fight. His boxing was tight, and
his body works great.
His movement, he looked good, and that's a huge win for him. I'd love to see him against Sandhagen. That'd be a fun battle.
Or Dillashaw. Honestly, I'd love to see Dillashaw. I just don't think
Dillashaw's
that's realistic for the next fight. But a great fight. I'd love to see that. Honestly, another just to the old schoolers like me, I'd love to see Aldo versus Cruz. Just a dream matchup I feel like people have been talking about for a long time as they've been so dominant at 145, 135, now it's the same division. Kind of makes sense. Aldo's above Cruz in the division right now, but for old, just a dream matchup, that'd be a very cool one to watch, too.
The UFC's into selling tickets, and that'll definitely sell some tickets.
2 legends, so.
The main event. Derek Lewis and Cyril Gane. Now,
can't say we're surprised.
Disappointed,
yeah.
Disappointed in the performance. We knew where this was heading in the first round. I think he was outstruck 23-1.
It was just too much. He wasn't able to. That was one of the most dominant, non-quick knockouts. That's as close to a dominant performance you can get, especially with such a dangerous guy as Derek Lewis. I don't know what the final stats were, but it was something absurd. I think Lewis only landed 6 or 8 total strikes.
He got brutalized. Gane was too fast, and he just beat him down. And, Lewis, he made him quit, man. He curled into a ball. It was over. I think the ref bought him an extra minute and a half by letting him pick up his mouthpiece as he's getting finished. And then Gane just continued. And Gane knew he needed to get a finish here for grow his fan base and also to get the UFC behind him for this big title fight coming up.
I gotta say,
he went after it.
Gane did what he was supposed to do, yet still elevated his status even more. I don't think even the people that were all on Gane, I don't think they thought he was going to make it look that easy, inflict that much damage, and get the finish, not even in the championship rounds, by the third round, completely dominating him. So, I gotta say, I'm excited for. I've always thought Ngannou Gane on paper looks pretty fun. It's got the story, with Ngannou changing camps, having a bad fallout with Gane's current coach, the French coach, and them having been sparring partners and having a little bit of footage of them two going at it. But man, I think that performance brings it to the next level. I hate doing MMA math, but we saw Ngannou versus Lewis, and Ngannou was so tentative. It was so Gane just dominated. It brings a little bit level of excitement there, where Gane's never lost a fight. He's 13-0 in Muay Thai. He's 10-0 in MMA. The guy's even said, "I've never lost a fight. I know it'll happen eventually, but this is as exciting as it gets." And it's so cool to see how MMA just constantly evolves, in the UFC specifically, where once Ngannou beats Stipe, you're just so sure that we're in the Ngannou era, and who the hell is going to beat this guy? And he's running through people, and he still could easily do that. But just one fight later, we got a contender and an up-and-comer that we're like, maybe this is the Gane era. Maybe this isn't the Ngannou era.
I was going to say, if Gane can get it done against Ngannou, and again, I don't want to be in the same position because I feel like I just said this about Ngannou, but I can't see one of these heavyweights beaten him for a while, man. Ngannou's got the best shot. He's got the power and a little bit more speed. But this guy he's fast, he's dominant, he's got it all, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is
He's an
one of those.
athlete at
I think
heavyweight.
Ngannou's got the power, and that's not to be understated. He has some of, if not the most devastating power in MMA that we've ever seen. From a technical standpoint, Gane looks better technically everywhere, and he moves, and even his speed, I would say, I almost give Gane the speed advantage. It's close. I don't know. They're both incredible athletes, but Gane just looks like a guy that shouldn't be moving that way as a heavyweight. Yeah, that almost looks like a lightweight.
It's going to be an absolutely monster card to start 2022 at some point, and we'll be buying our tickets. We're definitely going to that one.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a great card.
The other thing is just, and maybe I'm not saying this would sell as many tickets, but from a personal fanhood standpoint, it's like, I think I'm more interested in Ngannou than I am in Ngannou Jones.
Yeah,
I really am. It's crazy. You got two monster Hulk guys. You got the backstory with training. You got just the physical. They're both guys that have freak athletic bodies that you don't see at heavyweight normally, that can't move like that. I'm excited. It's no shot at Jones. I am excited to see Jones' heavyweight debut eventually. Hopefully it comes sooner than later. But I don't know if you can ask for a better heavyweight. This reminds me of, Kane versus JDS, where you just know they're head and shoulders above the rest of the division. Yeah. And it's going to be whoever gets the best of each other is going to be in for a long reign. Or maybe we're going to be in for a trilogy, and these guys are going to be the top two and for years to come. So
yeah, and I feel bad for Stipe here.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, all rights, probably deserved another rematch with Ngannou.
Yeah.
The trilogy, but with this fight playing out and then Jones coming into the division, I mean, Stipe might just get pushed to the back burner here. And, hopefully, I know they've been floating the idea of him and Jones, if Jones will take the fight. That'd be a fun one to watch to kind of earn a shot at whoever wins this Ngannou.
Yeah.
But, it's looking promising for the heavyweight division in the UFC, man. They're seeing an evolution of the fighter. These guys are no longer just slow trotting heavyweights, man. We've got athletes in there.
Yeah.
And they're skilled, and it's exciting to watch.
And from we got a ways to go before whenever that fight actually gets announced. But interesting, they just posted the odds for that fight, and I want to say Ngannou opened, depending on your sports book, between minus 190, minus 170. Massive money came in on Gane. Actually, at one point, Gane was up to minus 130 favorite, and now they've shifted back to coin flip minus 110, minus 110. Really interesting to see the odds shift that much in a day, especially when you're talking about the scary figure that is Ngannou. We're not talking about a random guy here. We're talking about the heavyweight champion of the world, the scariest guy in the world, the guy who's knocked out everyone in his path. And that's how much money came in on Gane against Ngannou. It's interesting. I'd love to see where those odds shake out when the actual fight plays out. I don't know. I could see it going either way. But it's interesting that it moved that drastically.
This might be another fight doesn't go the distance bet for me, because
Definitely.
I don't know if I want to put money. I think Gane could win it, but I'm not putting money against that punching power of Ngannou.
No.
Just like I didn't really bet Gane in this fight, even though he dominated. The bet was fight doesn't go the distance, and that cashed at minus 200.
As great as Gane is, too, Ngannou's been able to find just about everybody's chin. It's a great matchup.
It's going to be exciting, so we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, so overall, to recap, T65 did not disappoint. We had, from a viewing standpoint, couldn't have been more entertaining. So many great cards, from the big names to the undercard fights you didn't expect to have a good fight. Just amazing card. I'm pretty happy with how our bets went. Our biggest recommendations hit. I think I want to say we played a total of,
let's go through. We had Metafield.
Yeah. We played about 6 fights with different parlays. We only lost one bet on our entire slip. So good returns for us this week. Leading into the next card, which we get
see Vegas 34, which we have a week off.
We get a week off, and it's definitely a filler card. It's doesn't have the strongest matchups on there. Main event's going to be fun. You got Gastelum versus Canier, which is exciting. We're going to have to watch some tape on that. A little preview my lean right away. I think there's some value there on Gastelum. He's a sizable underdog, and I think it's a closer fight than many may think. Undercard,
Let's pull it up real quick and see. I know one fight that definitely stood out to me is we got Brandon Royval fighting Pantoja.
Toja, yeah.
On the main card, so that's going to be a fun one.
And they're close. Those guys are, whoever wins that fight is very close to title shot. So that's really exciting. I got to give a shout out to my boy Vince from Hell Pichel. He's a guy that I've actually been lucky enough to go get some drinks with when he was visiting his buddy in UC Davis. Had some mutual friends. Always loved that guy. Always loved watching him fight. Really entertaining fighter. Put in the long term of his career, put in the work. So
yeah, he's got himself a good fight against Austin Hubbard on the main card.
It's gonna be a good fight. Tune in. I'll have to see where those odds stand out. I always place a little bet on Pichel. So
yeah, a couple other notable names here. We got Clay Guida fighting Mark Madsen. Courtney Casey versus Liana Jajua. So there's some good fights here. Down in the prelims, it looks like we got William Knight and Charant. Should be a nice little...
William Knight's an entertaining guy.
Yeah, it's going to be some entertaining fights. But ultimately, we got about 2 weeks here to go over some tape and really give you guys some...
Get a good breakdown for you guys, see if there's some value. Sometimes these filler cards with a little bit lower level names, sometimes they got the most value because... If we're having trouble watching tape or knowing stuff, so are the bookies, and sometimes those lines can have a lot more value than the mainstream guys. So we're excited for that. In addition to that, we also wanted to talk about we got football coming up, which we couldn't be more excited for. We're going to be doing a fantasy draft episode where we're going to take questions, get in different positions, talk about different strategies in snake versus auction. In addition to kind of preparing week one's DraftKings lineups as well as optimizing any personal fantasy lineups. But we are going to do a draft episode prior to our week one stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the draft, we'll definitely throw out. We've got a couple sleepers for you guys. And we'll give you some pros and cons of some of those guys at the top. There's a couple guys floating in the first and second round that I wouldn't touch.
Yeah.
So we got some good stuff for you guys as far as drafts go. We'll go PPR, non-PPR, give you guys our thoughts on that. And, yeah, looking forward to week one. I mean, obviously, a lot's got to play out here with the preseason. And we're very big, and it's been a big storyline the last 2 years now. It's going to be COVID. And so we'll have a very in-depth COVID tracker going for you guys with some swaps and things like that. And we'll go from there. But, yeah, looking forward to it, man. We love football. We've been in this MMA for a while.
Back into that and even do, in addition to the fantasy football, we love doing player prop bets. This is where we've actually probably gotten some of our best returns as a betting from our betting. So we're excited to break down that for week one, especially for me personally. I've always had my favorite bets I get in week one when everyone's still trying to figure out who's going to end up being the starter, who's getting the touches. If you got a good lean on someone, there's the most value week one.
Yeah, absolutely. And same place for DraftKings. The farther into the season you get, the more you notice you start seeing these 80% players are being played because everybody's kind of on the same page as we get into the later weeks. But week one,
there's value.
There's value. If you're doing your research, you're going to have a little heads up here.
Yep. Awesome, guys. Well, appreciate everyone joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely.